Salutations, hello, hi, and welcome to Basic Public Speaking. I'm Christy Thomas. I'm your professor and instructor for this course, and this is our weekly chat for the dates of April the 7th through April the 11th. So what's going on this week is, let's discuss lessons first. So we just finished up all of our main speech genre lessons with persuasive speaking and arguments. You've also, the MLA citations and in-speech verbal citation lessons have been up for a few weeks. So this week, it's going to be nonverbals in public speaking / nonverbals in communications. There's going to be two modules open for this. One will say nonverbals, public speaking, and then nonverbals in communication. The nonverbals in public speaking, it really goes over how your style of delivery, choice of words, language, your body, all that comes into play. So there's going to be several lessons within that module, and when I say lessons in that module, I mean several Word documents, PowerPoint presentations, video chats, and publisher PDFs. The nonverbals in communication module, this is just supplemental videos discussing nonverbals in communication. I personally think nonverbals is fascinating because it's not the focus isn't on the words itself, which is very important with public speaking. And choice of language comes into play with nonverbal, even though you may not think about it because you're like, I'm speaking it, but it's a choice. But it's also how you present yourself in public speaking and in communication itself. So this is how you hold yourself, how you present, your facial expressions, the tone of your voice, intonation, pitch, rate, all that comes into play here. So it's fascinating to me. So we're going to look over those. Those are the lessons for the week. Nothing too chaotic. But you do have the third main speech due Friday, April the 11th by 5 p.m. That module has been open for several weeks as well. And if you recall, this one's aptly named Tell Me a Story. Now, with this speech and the final storytelling speech, you can come up with ideas to use in both because it comes into play with the modules. And the details for the speech is in that module. It's a Word document with description and requirements, a video of me chatting about it, and then there is a link to upload and submit your final version of your speech, and then a link to upload and submit your works cited / outline as well. So you don't have to worry about trying to submit both in the same location. Try to make things a little easier on you. With this speech, it's a choose your own adventure. Option A is that you read a book. And when I say read a book, think of a children's book, what you would read to young, preschool children, kindergarten, first, second, third, a storytelling. And think when I say of how you present this, you may change your voice for different characters or your facial expressions. Really get into the retelling of the book. And you'll have your book and you're reading from it, obviously. So for that, the MLO citation is the book itself. That is your verbal citation because you're reading the book. Does that make sense? All right. The next portion of Choose Your Own Adventure is that you can approach this. You can do it. You can do a movie review, a book review, a series review, a musician review, an album review, a video game review. You can talk about, I'm not going to be able to cover all the examples because I will just keep going and rattling, so make sure you're checking out the modules. That has been open for weeks, remember. But you can also, tell a ghost story, talk about conspiracy theory, talk about your favorite moment in time. You can discuss your favorite place to go on vacation, favorite activities, a bucket list. You can do a tribute speech, a memorial speech to someone close to you or someone that you admire or have honor, or someone from history. You can talk about historical moments. You can talk about great locations. It could be, perhaps you're a history buff and it's an amazing museum, or perhaps you're into marine life and it's a really wonderful aquarium. Or like I said, it could be a bucket list, a place you'd love to visit, like a destination, like a different country or specific landmark. You can discuss all that. You can also do tributes fall in the memorial speeches. And again, this can be someone close to you in real life, or it can be someone that you admire, or someone celebratory status, or famous, or politician, whatever the case may be here. The options are endless and you can really have fun with this. So if you're choosing the option that's not reading a book, you do have to have a verbal citation. And then that could be a blurb or statistic or just something else. You know, it doesn't have to be super deep, but it does have to be a verbal citation, and you give credit where credit is due. If the idea or the phrase is not from your own ideas or mind or mouth, we give credit where credit is due, as always, and I will always say that. So, details on all that can be found in the Tell Me a Story Main Speech 3 module and the verbal citation modules as well. So, that's due Friday, April the 11th by 5 p.m. I almost said February, guys. I'm a little congested, so my head's a little... With that being said, I want you to be aware that this week I will open the remaining speech modules, and after the third main speech, you have a final storytelling and final persuasive speech, and I will also be opening up the second rounds of canons of rhetoric. And any remaining lessons will be open, but after this, it's really... They're not main lessons, they're extra lessons I just like to include, which is speaking online and then speaking for social change. So those are just some like little fun I like to include in public speaking, because, you know, our terminology and ideology may be the same from many centuries ago that Aristotle laid the groundwork for, but like every other facet in the world of communication, the world itself, it's ever evolving and ever growing. So I like to add just these other snippets, you know, because we are ever evolving and changing. I'll get all that open this week. Nonverbals are this week, but everything else will remain open. I try to set aside, because it's going to come quickly, because the final storytelling speech is due the 25th. Your round 2, Canons of Rhetoric, is due May the 2nd. And then Wednesday, May the 7th, I do believe. Yes, by noon is the final persuasive speech for this course. If you're missing anything whatsoever, I will not accept it past noon on May 7th. So, that's why I try to give a little bit more leeway in the last few weeks here. And then everything will be open this week, because A, there are two types of folks I have encountered. One, some folks really thrive in procrastination. So, that's there. But I also know there's some people that thrive in getting the information and just getting it done. So, that's why I try to get the last bit of the stuff opened fairly early, so that you can do these at your own leisurely pleasure. Get it done, be done, wait, whatever works best for you. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I hope that you have an amazing day. Thank you so much.